What's up, guys? Matt Rohrbeck from Movie Night, and I am here with
Eric Marchand of Movie Night.
Okay, so it is midway through the festival.
Is it?
Once again, we've seen way too many films.
Probably.
They're all starting to blend into each other. But we're going to talk about right now, we're going to talk about Neil Jordan's Byzantium.
And Brian Ponsol's Smashed.
Alright, so start off, Byzantium, done by Neil Jordan. He's kind of veteran of the vampire genre.
Yeah, this is sort of like the third in his trilogy of vampire films.
Yeah.
Well, supernatural movies, because he did The Company of the Wolves in the 80s, Interview with a Vampire, which is based on Anne Rice's novel, and then this stage play, Byzantium.
Yeah, so it stars,
Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse Ronan, I'd always mess that up.
Of Hannah and The Way Back and Atonement.
Gemma Atherton, also Sam Riley, who else is in it?
Daniel Mays,
Johnny Lee
Miller, yes.
Yeah, Johnny Lee Miller. So it stars Saoirse Ronan and Gemma Atherton as two vampires in kind of the present day in Europe, and it's their story about how they live and move, and they live in this apartment. They end up meeting this man, and they live in this apartment building. Or this,
called Byzantium.
This old hotel called Byzantium, and
it's on sort of like the English seaside.
And so Saoirse Ronan's character, throughout the whole film, she keeps writing this story, which is the story of how her and her sister,
Gemma Claire.
So how they become vampires 200 years ago.
And she can never reveal the story to anyone, or she'll have to.
So she writes this story down and throws it to the wind all the time. So
the birds can read.
Yeah. So anyway, it's kind of does this thing where it flashes in the present and shows the story of what's happening now, and you have to keep having to run away
from this organization of vampires that's all-male organization.
Yeah. So while that's happening, the story kind of gets pieces of it revealed through flashbacks to 200 years ago, two centuries ago, and how they became vampires, and how this brotherhood of becomes how no women are allowed as vampires.
So they're sexist.
Yeah. So how they hunt them down and they're looking for them and how they live, and it's kind of cool. It's slow, but
it's slow, and it has a nice sort of finish to the movie. The way it looks is beautiful. Sean Babbage shot the film, he was the cinematographer on Places Beyond the Pines, Shame and Hunger. He loves reflections in glass. I think the two leads are pretty good. You like Gemma Arterton more than Saoirse Ronan?
Yeah, I think so.
I felt the opposite.
Yeah, okay. I was talking with Alex for showing when we got out of the film, and we thought, like, if Gemma Atherton didn't break out already, Alex was saying that this probably would have been her breakout role, which I thought she was really good.
I will say one of the performances that didn't work for me is Caleb Landry Jones, who was in X-Men First Class. He played Banshee. He has like this teenage angst, dark goth. He's always going like this all over the place, and he's like, I really like you, and it just doesn't work for me. So, but I think it's a solid film.
And Saoirse Ronan was fine. She's great.
I liked her a lot.
It was kind of, she keeps getting better and better.
And we talked about the piano score and how she integrates it into the film, but it's very much reminiscent of Atonement, when she's playing that one lead.
That is very true. There's this one piece of score that Saoirse Ronan plays near the beginning of the film. Yeah. And they keep reusing it, and I really like the theme to that and how they kept reusing it. And it's violent. It's a pretty good vampire movie.
I'd say it's going to be a cult classic, and it's nothing that improves the genre of vampires, like Let the Right One In, but it's a nice step.
It's the best one since Let the Right One In.
Yeah.
Even Let Me In. I like Let Me In.
Yeah, that was good too.
Yeah, so I think it's the best vampire movie since then. I don't know how many. They've been kind of oversaturated and everything.
Yes.
I think it's slower, so you got to pay a little bit more attention. But I really like the cross-cutting through flashbacks and the present day.
And there's one visual in the film, without giving it away, but how they become vampires is a very strong visual. At first, you said you weren't a big fan of it, but once you get used to the image, I think it's kind of.
At first, it doesn't look like it's a bodily fluid that comes out of. That sounds really bad. But it looks. It's at first it's a little jarring, but it's very. I felt Batman Begins at one point. Bats, and like I don't know, I just love Batman. So it goes back to that. But and then there's a mountain and something happens. At first it's jarring, but then once I got used to it and they showed it over and over again with that big piece of score, it was really cool.
Yeah.
And like, interesting how they become vampires. It's not your typical I don't know. I'm not really.
No, I mean, I think that's the one thing that scripts or screenwriters are really sort of tackling now, is that they have to change up the genre, because there have been so many of these
So
films.
you can't just stick by that Bible that's like vampires have to do this. And this
Yeah, they can't eat garlic, they can't be out in the sunlight.
So they change up how they become these vampires, and they have to go to this location, and what happens at that location is kind of big.
Yeah.
It's kind of an epic scale to it at some points, and like it's a period piece, but then it's also
a modern day-telling, and it's I think it's a solid film.
Blend, yeah.
IFC just picked it up, so it will get some sort of theatrical distribution.
I don't know when, if it'll be soon.
It probably will be next year.
Yeah.
But look for it. It's worth checking out.
Yeah, I know Parker. He's not with us right now, but I think,
movie night as well.
Yeah, he really liked it. I think he said it was the best thing to see.
Yeah, personal favorite of his.
It looks great. It's a good. If you like vampire movies, you should really like this. I think.
Yeah.
Much better than after that. So, anyway, moving on. We are going to talk about
the alcoholic comedy drama Smash, starring Mary Elizabeth Winstead. It was a Sundance Film favorite. It played at Toronto as well, and we had the opportunity to see it. Winstead plays an alcoholic who decides that, you know what, maybe she's had enough, and, you know, because she's a school teacher, she's puking in front of her students.
She has to actually lie about.
She lies about the incident, saying that she's pregnant to her superior principal, played by Megan Mullally. Then also she goes down through a spiral of drugs, crack, one night, and Nick Offerman plays a fellow teacher, and of Parks and Rec, and he sort of tells her, you know what, there's a way to sort of beat this and go through the 12 steps, because I was through it as well.
Yeah, it has Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad. That's probably where you would know Jesse.
Yeah.
He's in it. He's good. I mean,
he's also an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So they're a couple that are.
They don't really think they're alcoholics. They're just a young couple that drinks a lot.
Yeah.
Like I know
they're fully functioning. Like they're you know, like she puts the bed, so she has a weak bladder, and all that.
He's
kind
just
of stuff.
one of those guys who likes to get drunk every night with his buddies, which I'm sure we all know someone who's kind of like that, like bored, not an alcoholic, but they just enjoy it. But
I was surprised with how funny the film was, because you think of, when you hear the log line, oh, it's a movie about an alcoholic trying to kick the habit, you think of, like, you know, a Sundance movie that's very granola, indie, dark, and just depressing. But this is actually quite funny, but being respectful to
once again, it's a little darker comedy, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about the moist cake incident throughout the film.
I think that might be like a one-liner after.
Yeah, it will. I think it's the most memorable thing. Like,
so moist.
Yeah. It was really jarring because you don't expect it to be coming, and it's a really funny line. The whole movie, I thought Weinstein's performance was fantastic.
Yeah, I think she'll get some nominations in terms of like Indie Awards and stuff like that. I don't know if it's an Oscar-worthy
someone said that,
but it's a nice showcase for her that, you know, she is a good actress. And you know, because I couldn't really think of a whole lot she was in other than Scott Pilgrim and Death Proof.
Die Hard.
Yeah, Live Free or Die Hard.
Sorry, Live Free or Die Hard.
But it's getting a release in October, and it's through Sony Pictures Classics. So I think, you know, people should check it out, give it a shot. And the only thing that we had, the problem is that it's short.
It's very short. It's an hour 20 maybe, and I feel like they could have put a little more into it. Maybe it's the budget being smaller and like stuff like that. But it's like she goes through her 12 steps or whatever program, and something happens, and then it skips a little bit, and then it just kind of ends, and like it's kind of heartbreaking too, the whole story of everything. But like I feel like they could have had a little bit more in the latter part of the film to kind of develop the more probable issues and find them in places.
Yeah, again, just quickly, Smashed, I think, is a very strong film that deals with this subject matter. I also think another film that is worth seeking out is Clean and Sober with Michael Keaton, which was an 80s film that dealt with similar situation. So it's a nice companion film, if you will, to that.
And I know you said you liked how no one really forced her into it.
Yeah, that's the writing. You know what? She makes the decision herself because she's the one that realizes, you know what, I've gone too far and I need to do something about it. Where there's no like big dramatic intervention scene.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice change, and no one comes in and says like forces her into it.
Yeah, like you gotta go.
Yeah,
like Nick Offerman's like there, and he says like, oh, I do this. You can come if you want.
Yeah, and Aaron Paul kind of chastises her for it. Really,
yeah.
and he has no intention of doing it at all. But yeah, good. I mean, it was a hit at Sundance. It should be. I don't know how well it'll do overall, but I mean, I think Weinstead is a little bit known. Aaron Paul more so now for Breaking Bad, so maybe that'll bring people out. But it's definitely. I mean, it wasn't anything like blow me away.
No, but it is solid, and it's worth checking out if you're looking for a movie with a little bit of substance.
Exactly. All right, so that pretty much wraps that up. We'll be back again very soon, probably with some new reviews. We still have, I don't know, some more films to see. There's probably, we've seen 30, got about 30 more probably.
We're basically in a haze right now.
Yeah, all right, so see you soon, guys. I am Matt Rohrbeck. You can see more of my work at movienight.com and at Twitter at movie_night.
I'm Eric Martin. You can also see my work at movienight.com and on Twitter at EM6211. Bye.
See ya.